Hello, my name is Jason JROCK Houston, and this interview is being done for Chaotic Risk TV. We're talking today with Venrez lead singer Stephen Perez. How you doing today, Stephen?
I'm doing great. Just call me Ven. Everybody else does.
Okay, yeah, I forget about that. Now, Vin, to kick off 2023, you guys did a show with Stephen Piercy at the Whiskey, didn't you? Or to kind of
Yeah, well, kind of at the end, we did.
yeah,
We headlined the Whiskey on August 24th, which was our first show in 2.5 years, actually,
yeah.
and sold it out. And then we played with Piercy on December 30th.
Oh,
Um,
what a great way to end the
just
year.
yeah, to ring in the new year. Yeah, LA Guns always plays there on New Year's Eve. And
Okay.
we did do New Year's Eve there with them. It was actually the last show of a tour we had done that last quarter before the pandemic, right? So
In fact, when I interviewed you last year, just as a new EP was being coming out, you were telling me that there was a very good chance that Venrez almost broke up, and but at the last minute you got this latest record deal. You want to talk a little bit about that?
well, yeah, I mean, we had toured with LA Guns
Yeah,
at the last quarter of 2019
yeah,
and ended with a stupendous show at New Year's Eve at the Whiskey. We were on fire. Universal had contacted me. Uh, we were, we had went in the studio and recorded about 15 great new songs.
yeah,
Uh, you know, and we were like on the top of the world.
yeah.
Uh, and then, basically a few months later, on March 17th, LA, where I lived at the time,
Yeah.
was completely shut down. And, we got into April of 2021,
Yeah.
and I really thought, I, I had just turned 66.
Well, you definitely don't look
Uh,
your age, my friend.
yeah, no, I just that's another story altogether. I made a deal with God, but a much better deal than with the devil.
There you go.
And and I'm thinking, well, damn. I mean, maybe we're not going to be able to do anything till 2022. I'm going to be 67. I thought, you know what? I just think I should just tell Jason.
Yeah.
He produces and writes the music, and him and I started the band years ago in 2009. I had just decided to tell him, I'm just done. And he was coming over that day to get my vocal on a demo. We kept writing. We recorded over 64 new songs. We haven't even recorded with the band. I mean, I've got at least 6 records
Wow.
worth of material because we just kept getting together all week long, writing and recording demos at my house during that period, a couple of years. And I dreaded all day. But the way it's set up, is I had an office with a computer
Yeah.
and then the recording studio, because I just do my vocals there. I lived in an apartment, so that's all we could do, my vocals there. And, you know, I went upstairs. He said, I'm bouncing the track. And I just logged on my email just to, like I always do, just to wait till he's done bouncing it. And there was a recording contract offer from Pavement
Now,
Entertainment.
right there, talk about faith. Coming in and playing a role. I mean that says it right there. And I think Venrez, you guys have a great history, and I think you and Jason got a great writing partnership, chemistry, but definitely got no shortage of songs. So you do have that going for you, I think.
Yeah, I mean, they wanted to start with an EP. I sent them, 9 or 10 of what I thought were some of the better songs at the time, and they picked 6, and we put them on the EP. My drummer was stuck in France,
Wow.
so he was on 2 of the tracks they picked. but we couldn't get him over here,
Yeah.
and because of the pandemic, he couldn't even record. All the studios in Paris were closed everywhere. So Stephen Perkins, my friend from Jane's Addiction, drummed 4 of the tracks, which was nice. And our first radio single, "Show Me," it hit #2 on the Foundations charts and 16 on the Billboard Top 40 BDS. And we've never been on radio. Our prior 4 records were full length LP 10 song.
Again, that's a
And
combination of faith coming into play with the record contract just being in your email, sitting there waiting for your response, and then you release,
yeah, it's crazy.
and the fans just kind of respond, and it's not even a case of the fans had heard that the band almost came close to breaking up. It just is a case of that they love the EP you guys just.
Well, they didn't know that.
Yeah,
They never knew it. I didn't tell them until later.
that's
They
what I'm
didn't
saying.
know.
Yeah,
They
that's what,
didn't want to break up. I was just going to tell them I'm done. I looked at I said, "Jason, here's a recording deal, I guess."
yeah,
And then, what, you got to understand, fans and fellow musicians know this, that it doesn't matter how long, like Nirvana, Pearl Jam, these bands, it took like 5 records and 5, 6 years before they even got record deals. People think they just came out overnight. Today it's like 10 years. And
with this band, you guys got a real work ethic.
Yeah, that was basically it. My point is, even if you've been around 10 or 11 years, when you get a recording contract, it really all begins then.
Oh, sure.
It's like, we do have a good grassroots following, so that helps. Although for the most part, it really just starts all over again. And I have a new rhythm section that I put together in 2018.
Oh, wow.
So it's really a new band, and we were blowing minds at the end of 2019, and we're doing it again now.
And so with the new guys in the band, how long did it take them to learn the material and get to the point where they're comfortable with being able to play it?
Well, they're great players. I mean, Victor Singer on drums and Gabe Mask on bass. They're incredible, and they were very young when they joined the band. I mean, I think Victor was 25, Gabe was 26. Now Gabe just turned 30, and Victor just turned 29. But we lost a few years because of the pandemic. But I booked some very small Western regional tours myself, where I knew there would be a limited amount of crowd and no press or anything like that, just to get them, ready for the bigger stage.
Yeah.
And when I felt they were, then we did go on tour with LA Guns the last quarter of 2019, and they're playing songs that were recorded and toured with other players.
Oh, sure.
They finally made it their own, and we just meshed and became a band on stage the entire tour. And every show we kept growing, and the audience was like a part of it. It was something I never experienced before. It was really something. I mean, we sold all our merch after 5 shows. People were like, "Who the heck?" Because we primarily concentrated in Europe more than the States over that period of time. And we did tour the States with Alice Cooper, Fuel, and Slash, but we did more touring overseas. And we weren't as well known, and people were just blown away. I mean, we made a lot of fans on that tour.
And did you find that European fans were like really loyal and supportive? I mean,
they still are. I mean, I'm telling you, these people that saw us on that tour, a lot of them communicate with me on a weekly basis. We have a lot of fans in Europe and in the UK that are dying for us to come back. But there really weren't any touring opportunities.
Oh, sure.
Last year, and it's getting tough.
Even look at the stadium tour with Motley Crue and Poison. I mean, that was put on hold for like 3 years. I mean, until they finally just did it last year. They weren't even sure they were going to be able to until midway through the year.
Yeah, well, exactly. I mean, our record released like February 25th, 2022. The first single hit #2 on Foundation, 16 on Billboard BDS Top 40, and we couldn't get on any tour. It was just like the competition was crazy.
Yeah.
And then, if a
And
band, and I don't want to mention names because
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I don't want to get bad blood with anybody, but
I got
there
you.
were a couple big bands that, you know, we basically were about to sign contracts with, and then other bands that were more like actors and husbands or wives or whatever of
Middle band.
famous people,
Yeah, yeah.
came in and offered ridiculous buy-on money, and the headliners took it. So we still have yet to tour behind our new EP, Purgatory Awaits, and we're into 2023. So I think we're going to be playing some festivals in the spring. We still have not got tour dates yet. I'm waiting for those. I know sometime between May and June we'll be touring Europe.
Yeah.
It'll come together. I really can't wait to get back on the road.
Here's the thing with that. I mean, I think people have been waiting for you guys for so long, like you said, that that's part of a reason that when the EP was released, people just reacted to it because not only are the songs great and that, but I
Hmm.
mean, I think it showed people for the first time in their lives that not to take anything for granted. I never would have thought in my life that I would not be able to go to a movie theater, I would not be able to go see a live concert because for a lot of reasons, but the government trying to control what everybody does. And I mean, we had a
Right.
governor here in California, right, going on TV bragging about, you know what, we may, as long as I'm governor, we may shut down the music industry, may never allow another concert to take place. Thank God it didn't come to that, but came close. And I'm sure as a working musician, you had that fear of, oh my God, what is going to happen now?
It's a problem because many of the bands have to tour to make money, in rock and roll. You really do. I mean, people aren't really buying your music anymore. You don't really sell a lot of merch unless you're
Yeah,
on tour. So they got to tour to make money. And the problem is the competition at the end of the last half of last year, and the competition for this year it's just through the roof.
yeah,
They're putting 2, 3, 4 band packages together. Um, I can't catch a dang break.
yeah,
And it may be 2024 before we do a world
yeah,
tour.
yeah, yeah. And here's the thing too, the world being what it is today, um, it doesn't really matter how good your music or your record is because you're lucky when people go on YouTube if they even play your song all the way through. And that's not so much on
It's true.
how good your song is. That's just people's state of mind. I talked to somebody recently. I'm an old school person. I love to buy physical CDs. Hold it in your hand, look at the beautiful artwork. I had a guy tell me,
Right.
I don't buy CDs anymore. I just go and I'll pay 99 cents for whatever the latest single is. I don't even have to have anything that takes up room. I'm like, man, you're missing out.
Most of them don't even do that. They just, listen to it for free on YouTube or Spotify. They'll go spend $6 on a coffee, but they won't spend
Yeah,
99
I
cents
got it right there. Yeah,
on a download. You know, I really that doesn't really bother me at all. It's just I've got a band that's incredible live. We are rocking right now.
yeah.
We've never been better. The new EP Purgatory Awaits is great. It's got
Yeah, you
some good
guys have plans
songs.
to release like maybe another video or a single from it because I think that might
Well,
get the word out a little more.
well, we're playing 4 of the songs
Yeah,
from the record in the set, and some songs from all the like the real big hits off of our 4 previous indie releases. Although the new stuff we have yet to record with the band is 1,000 times better. I mean, we've already grown
I
over the
mean, you
last
guys
few years.
every release
So
you
yeah,
guys,
we're gonna start rehearsing a lot of these new songs, and we're probably gonna play 2 or 3 of them
yeah,
live at festivals on tour
yeah,
before we even record them, because they're that good. We just got to work them into the set, Um, I'm really excited about the future, although, you know,
I
I
think you
just,
just
I don't think about my age anymore and freaking out over the
well,
delays
I
that
think
COVID
people will
caused.
look at you and like they'll say, "Oh my God, you're 66." I'm like, you don't look it. You look like
I just turned 68, my brother, on
you're doing
January
something right. I
21st.
think the music, the rock and roll is keeping you young. So whatever you're doing, keep it up. And I think Venrez is one of those bands who um, the part of the problem is not that you guys don't have good songs, but I think part of it is like, for example, a lot of people might say, "Oh yeah, Venrez, they're that band. The singer looks like Howard Stern." I
Hmm.
can't name a single song, but every time I've heard one of their songs, I've loved it. It's kind of that's what you have, and I think if you just get out there a little more, hopefully, that's starting to change maybe.
I mean, if we can get out there and tour with Smashing Pumpkins or Bush or Corn or, Alice in Chains, uh, you know, you know, Greta Van Fleet, maybe, although that's a younger crowd, but I don't think it really matters.
Then
You
Red is one
know,
of those bands that you can tour with a lot of different people. I mean, for example, you mentioned you went on tour with LA Guns. I think that's a good match. You said you opened up for
yeah, but
Slash.
we've already done that a few times. Yeah, I'm just thinking, we really need to go out
On
with
your
some
own.
big name bands, even if we're like third or fourth up. And, we need to play to 3 to 10,000 people a show, not 3 to 600 in a club. That's what we need to do. And even if that means we have to hold out a little longer,
Why not?
we can do that, but we have great management. We have great booking agents. And I think, we're going to play some big shows this year.
And you
And
guys have always had great people, behind the scenes pushing the band. I mean, I think very first time I interviewed you, your publicist was folks at Chipster PR. They've got me a lot of great interviews over years, but just so
right.
people know,
Yeah.
that's the same publicist as like Judas Priest and Michael Singer. So you guys have
Yeah.
had,
Chip is great. But,
yeah,
I mean, now we're with the Pavement. So we use their
I'm
people.
just saying, I'm just saying so
Yeah.
people know that
Yeah.
you guys have always had great power, great people behind you guys trying to push the
Yeah.
band. I think that says something too about your talent as a band.
It's just, it's not even about the music anymore, man. Unfortunately, it's about who you know.
Oh, sure.
A lot of these bands, they're like, yeah, we really like to take Venray, but this band, they're our friends, so Slash does that,
Yeah.
Alice Cooper, it's all politics and this
Yeah.
kind of stuff. And the promoters are like, well, if you can't sell 1,000 tickets, we're not gonna
Yeah.
book you.
Yeah. I got to ask you,
It's just crazy.
Being from LA,
Go ahead.
did you ever take part in what's called pay to play? I mean, that's just ridiculous.
Well, I mean, you all have to. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
we did have to pay to play, and we did do some buy-on tours to start. Um, Otherwise, you're never going to get anywhere
Anywhere. Yeah.
because
Yeah.
it's impossible. And anybody that made it that tells you they didn't do it is lying.
Oh,
It's just the
sure.
way it
Sure.
is.
I mean, even
That's been over for quite some time.
yeah.
Um, the bottom line is,
Yeah.
locally in LA, we can sell three or 400 tickets to a local show. So,
Yeah.
we actually get paid now. Um, and in Europe, in the United Kingdom, we're big, and
Yeah.
so we do really well over there. I just like to open up the U.S. market,
Oh, sure.
and it may turn out to where we just do some festivals and such in the later spring and tour
Yeah.
Europe, in June, and maybe it's September, October, November before we do a major tour here, and it could be 2024.
Who knows? Yes.
Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, before it happens, I was hoping it was 2020,
Yeah. Yeah.
22. Um, it is what it is. I still
Sure.
look great. I'm in great
You
shape.
you just roll
We've got a
along.
lot of great songs.
Yeah.
Yeah, whatever God planned is the way it's going to be. I love it,
I will
and I
say
don't
this.
want to walk
Yeah.
away from
I
it.
will say this. I mean, I love the fact that you told the story at the beginning of the interview tonight about how you almost decided to kind of just walk away from it all, and then at the last minute you get this you open up the email and there's this record deal waiting for you. And again,
Mhm.
if this kind of faith is coming into play here, and think if it had gone the other way and you had walked away, I mean, we
Mhm.
might not have even got this latest EP. And how disappointing would that?
No, I wasn't thinking about it. I was done.
Well, that's what I mean.
Yeah, I mean, I was finished,
Yeah,
and I was just going to concentrate on other things in my life.
yeah.
Um, and I
I think
guess the
that might have.
powers that be, the higher power, had another plan. I'm just going to let it roll on what happens. That's
Yeah,
true. And I mean, what is the night I'm going to tell Jason I'm done? We got a recording contract
yeah,
offer,
yeah,
you know. So I guess the powers that be want us to keep going.
yeah. I
Although
think.
COVID really screwed things up for film and music, and you know, if you're not a band that broke 30 years ago plus, it's just really tough to get yourself out there.
Yeah,
Life isn't fair. If
no,
we could get out there with a name band and play to
yeah,
a lot of people, we would blow up in 6 or 7 months
for
because we're
sure.
great live and people love us.
Yeah.
And that might happen this year. It might be next year. It'll be when it happens.
And again, I think that's just, God tapping you on the shoulder saying, no, Vin, you got more songs in you. Now, let me ask if you ever were to get to the point where thinking about retirement and that, you're such a great songwriter. Do you think you would ever write for other artists or, because again, you're just such a great writer.
Yeah, I mean, we it was funny. I met, I can't remember the guy's name. He's the head of Sony ATV in LA.
Yeah.
He contacted me and we had a meeting. And he's like, all these writers, they were looking for
Yeah.
smarter but not too smart lyrics and songs for the younger pop artists like Demi Lovato and Selena Gomez and people like that.
Yeah.
Um, and So I did write one song called Slip and Fall. I had my daughter sing the demo,
Oh, wow.
and they loved it. They go, "Look, you're exactly what we want." And they offered me just, some really shitty one song deal, and I just said, "Look, it's just really not worth my time."
Yeah, you don't like it that much, obviously, right?
No,
Yeah.
I just said, "Look, I've already proven it. Give me $100,000 advance. You can have that song." And we'll sit here and I'll write you a ton of hits for all your artists, and you'll make everybody will make millions of dollars. And
Yeah.
and they passed on it. They probably should have fired that guy.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, we could do that, but we haven't done that yet.
Yeah.
We are on some movie soundtracks though, and you know, there'll probably be more of that.
Yeah.
The thing is we're a very cerebral, deep band, and
Yeah.
I write about very heavy duty stuff, and the music's not like a heavy metal. We're
No, no.
melodic, but it doesn't really lend itself well to television commercials and things of that particular nature. Although we were never on radio before. I mean, to hit two on Foundations and 16 on the top 40 of Billboard, I never would have. I would never dream that we would have been able to do that, and that's the first time we've ever been on radio. So the next single will be Each and Every Day,
Okay.
and they're going to release that on USA Worldwide Commercial Radio once we have a tour, and they'll release it, ramp it up well in time to where it's definitely top 10 everywhere before we hit the road. So that's the plan.
And Pavement is a great little label. I mean, what I love about them is they really get behind their artists and push their artists. And I love the fact they got such a diverse roster of artists.
Yeah, they really do. I mean, from Puddle of Mud to Ted Nugent's pretty
Candlebox.
vast.
Yeah.
I guess they recently signed Ted Nugent. Their two star new bands are us and the all girl 20 something band Plush.
Yeah.
I mean, we hit 16, they were 17, so it was kind of cool.
Yeah.
Venrez Pavement, Plush Pavement. But it's different today. You know, in the old days, it was all boy bands. Sarah McLachlan changed all that.
Sure.
You know,
Has there been talk of any of the bands on the label like doing a tour together?
well, we're talking about that right now.
Interesting. Yeah.
But Sarah McLachlan changed that with her. I forget the name of
Yeah.
the tour. But you know, today, like Plush is, they got signed by the same agent that handles Guns N' Roses,
Wow.
and we were supposed to. We were up for going out with Breaking Benjamin, Bush, and Alice in Chains, and they just didn't want a fourth band on the bill.
Wow.
And yet, the last two shows of the tour, Plush is the fourth band up. And the reason that happened is because their agent
Yeah.
also handles Guns N' Roses. So I was not real happy about it, but you know, that's just the way it is. You know, it's
Yeah.
who you know, what's going on. And the lead singer's great.
Yeah.
She's amazing. Although the other girls can't play very well, but you know,
Yeah.
20 something beautiful girls, and you
They
got the
make it
world
work.
ahead of you.
Yeah, they make it
So
work.
it's just the way it is, man. It's just the
Yeah.
way it is.
Oh, sure. But I think you guys, you're still here. You got lasting power. And I seen also on your Facebook page that you were working on a new song. Is that for Venrez? Said you and Jason.
Yeah, we're just you know, Jason and I have written a lot of stuff. We have a side project called the Godshot Project. In fact, we have a record mixed, mastered, ready to release. It's an electric acoustic record, just him and I. It's called Venrez, the Godshot Project. And that was ready to release in 2016. I've just been sitting on it because, you know, it's way ahead of its time and I can't release it until we break and we're a branded band. I mean, it would be a waste of an incredible record.
Yeah. And do you
And
have,
I got, yeah, it really would be. And I got to get my guys in the studio and
that's right.
record about 10 of these 64 new songs. I mean, we have some new stuff. What you're talking about is a new song I wrote called War Machine.
Okay.
Um, I thought somebody really had to write a song about the, you know,
What's going
it's
on?
pretty much about the
Yeah.
Ukrainian war and you know the money that's generated by the war machine. And I'm not political. I'm not Republican.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
not a Democrat.
You're
I'm an
saying,
independent,
there you go. Yeah.
and I vote for who I think is the best choice. Although you know there wasn't really any war under Donald Trump, and there's an awful lot of money made
Yeah.
when we're at war. So
Yeah.
you know that war machine is really spinning right now. It certainly is, and there's billions and billions, trillions of dollars being made. So
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think a lot of people didn't like the 4 years of Donald Trump. Not that I like him, I really don't.
Yeah. I got it.
But if you look at the facts, there was
Yeah.
no war for 4 years. So you know, some of those puppet masters lost a lot of money, and they don't like that. You know, they really don't. But I don't believe in war.
No. No.
Yeah, I believe in peace, harmony, and love, and I hope one day humanity can come together and
Yeah.
reach a
Yeah.
higher plane of consciousness.
That's why we need great music and great bands like Venrez because I mean that's what's needed in the world, entertainment, you know. And I think the great thing about music is it's got a power to bring people together, you know, especially in times like these, you know, when everybody's so divided and against one another.
Well, I'm just trying to bring back the great songwriting of the 60s and 70s in a
Yeah,
current fashion because nobody's doing it anymore. You
yeah.
know, I mean, the lyrics are lame. Bus stop boxer. I mean, it's just crazy. There's nobody writing stuff like Bob Dylan and John Lennon did in the day. You know, Bob Dylan can do whatever he wants to do,
I mean, Bob Dylan, as we
but
say
he's
it,
certainly, you know, he's not writing any.
uh,
Well, he's certainly not, and hasn't for years done what he did in the day. Maybe they told him, if you do, you'll join your buddy John. I don't. You'll probably happen. I
yeah,
don't know, but I'm doing it,
well,
and I think it needs to be said.
yeah,
Um, Unfortunately, I think the kids out there Well, no matter how old you are, I think they're just they're listening to the music, and I don't think they're really listening to the words as much as they used to today. I don't
Yeah,
think they
I
do.
mean, Ben, you think you're getting old? Let's talk about Bob Dylan for a minute. I heard, but just last year, he turned 88 years old. So that guy is at a point in his life where he can live comfortably and he can sit back and relax. But I mean, to think we're at a point where Bob Dylan just turned 80. I mean, who would have thought, we're all getting older.
He did. He just sold all his, he
Yeah,
just got 3 or 5 or 600 million dollars
yeah,
for the publishing rights to his music. Bob did his due
yeah.
diligence. He did his.
He
Him and
paid,
John Lennon really did some important stuff, but you know, there's a lot of things that happened in the last decade and a half, and he just didn't write anything about it like he did in the day.
for sure.
Uh, I really think they told him, there you go, go
Yeah,
ahead and if you do what you did back then,
yeah,
you're gonna be sleeping with John Lennon. I really believe that
yeah,
happened because why would he not do that anymore? Because that's how he made his whole career.
yeah.
I'm really not quite sure. Although superstars like Bob Dylan have nothing left to prove, so they can do
Sure.
whatever they like to do. Now let them leave it up to the
Yeah,
newer artists to make the statement. No one's writing about any of this
yeah, and
except for
that's why
me.
I got huge respect for guys like you, Ben, because I mean, like you were saying at the top video, people go around saying rock is dead. I don't believe rock is dead. I don't think we have rock stars like we used to. I mean, for example, I mean, you know, like one of my favorite bands come around the last couple of years, Dead Daisies. I mean, very interesting band.
Great
Uh,
band, yeah, great band. Black Angels, Dead
yeah,
Daisies. There's some. They're great. My favorite new band's the
I
Black Angels.
thought it was,
Look, the
yeah,
Black Angels manipulation. Check it out.
you
Yeah, the
will.
guys in Dead Daisies are all my friends, and
Yeah.
but they're really not a new band, brother. They're
Oh no, but
you know
it's
yeah,
interesting.
it started with Bruce Kulick,
Yeah,
right? Yeah,
yeah,
from the non-makeup Kiss
yeah, yeah,
days and Union and John Corabi, who
yeah,
sang a Motley Crew for 5 years. So
yeah.
there ain't nothing new about that
No,
project
but
at
yeah,
all.
but what amazes me about the Dead Daisies, as great as the music is, like the members are constantly changing. The lead singers. I mean, Glenn Hughes is a great singer, the current singer, but it doesn't seem to matter. I mean, it's the rhythm guitar player. He owns the band, but it's interesting because the members are always kind
Right, I agree. I
of,
agree. I mean, it wasn't like that when it started. It was
yeah,
John Corabi and Bruce Kulick. That's
yeah,
what it was.
yeah, yeah,
And now they're swapping it around and, kind of like a superstar switch out
yeah,
thing.
yeah, yeah.
I,
Well, I mean,
I guess, it's entertaining, but,
yeah,
it's not something that,
yeah,
doesn't, that just doesn't float my boat.
yeah,
I mean, I love Placebo, and
sure.
as far as new bands go, the Black Angels are amazing, and
We'll check that out.
I think rock is not dead.
Yeah,
The problem is the promoters,
for sure.
and the promoters are the devil, and they want to make money, so they're putting out all these bands that have been around forever.
Just see
And
what
they're
hits.
not really they're not leaving any room for new
Yeah,
bands, new music and such to really get out there. And if this was 1976, I'd be a huge star.
for
To
sure.
have a number 16 single in the top 40 of Billboard.
I
Are
mean,
you kidding me?
I
And
mean,
today it means absolutely nothing. You can
Venrez.
just
Yeah, you
take
guys.
a photo of it, frame it, put it on your wall, and go, "Oh, look what I did." No one in the industry gives two shits about it. It's a
You guys
different world today, man. Really
you guys
is.
have paid your dues, and yet you're still referred to as a new band. Um,
Well, we are for
yeah,
all
yeah,
intents and purposes. Yeah,
and Def Leppard, their latest album went to number one, but it was like number one for 1 week, and then everybody forgot about it.
yeah. Rock is not dead. It's just a different world,
For sure,
and I don't know what's going to happen. Bands would, the Jesus and Mary Chain
for
opened
sure.
the door for a lot of bands. Different bands open the door for all these other different bands. Tool. Tool was through a
Corn.
door where
Yeah.
the Jesus and Mary chain opened, and you know, those that's not happening anymore.
Oh, no, no.
And you know, you think about it. Back in my time, Stevie Wonder would open for the Rolling Stones.
Sure.
They do 3 shows in LA, they'd all be sold out. You know,
Yeah,
today, you Breaking Benjamin, Bush, and Alice in Chains,
that's
you
it.
got to put 3 of those bands together, and then Poppy, Jane's Addiction, and Smashing Pumpkins.
Yeah,
And like in my period, you know,
yeah,
you wouldn't have three big bands like that going out there. But you know, the economy sucks. People got
yeah,
to pay for tickets. It's a different world, and
yeah.
you know what controls music is the promoters, as far as live music goes.
Well, Vin, I'd like to thank you for taking time talking to me, David. It's a lot of fun. And I want you to know you're welcome back anytime. Let's do this again because it was great talking to you again, and I want to do what we can to really help you push your EP and get people go out and check your shows out. So we will do this again down the line. The interview we just did, I'll probably post it by next week. I'll let you know once it goes up. Feel free to share it. Okay.
Absolutely, I love you. I love your show. I appreciate your support, and
Anytime.
I'll
You
keep
got it.
you informed as you know, as things begin to happen. But
Okay.
we'll just have to wait and see what happens. I think it probably sometime between April and May we'll be out there playing a bunch of shows, and
We'll hit you
you'll
up
definitely
again.
know about it.
We'll hit you up again and see what's going on. You take care, my friend. Bye bye.
You too, brother. Bye bye.